Everything you want in life, your success, your relationships, your confidence, your happiness, it all starts with you. It all comes down to a single, fundamental question. How much are you willing to invest in yourself? We live in a world that is obsessed with the outside. We are trained from birth to search for answers outside of ourselves. We look for shortcuts. We look for secrets. We look for that one magical system, that one unknown hack, that one piece of information that will finally unlock the life we want. We search for someone else to fix our problems. We wait for a leader, a mentor, a government, or a new boss to come and reorganize our lives for us, to give us the permission to succeed. But here is the truth, the one great, sobering, and powerful truth that, once accepted, will change the entire trajectory of your future. No one is coming to save you. There is no cavalry. There is no magic pill. There is no external force that will descend and grant you the life that you dream of. If you want more, if you want better, if you want to become the person you were truly meant to be, are you, and you alone, have to put in the work. This is the great dividing line of life. And most people will never do this. They will spend their entire lives standing on the wrong side of that line. They will stay distracted. They will stay comfortable. They will settle for the life that was given to them, or the life they fell into, instead of demanding, designing, and building the life they actually want. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they feel unfulfilled. They wonder, in those quiet moments, why they feel like something is missing. It is because they never took full ownership of their growth. They never made the non-negotiable decision to work on themselves. Every single day. This is the difference. It is not the only difference, but it is the one that matters most. It is the one that precedes all others. The ones who rise. The ones who build incredible lives. The ones who separate themselves from the average are not the ones who were born lucky. They are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who, at some point, made a conscious, deliberate commitment to self-improvement. They are the ones who refused to stay the same. They are the ones who woke up one day, or perhaps over 1,000 days, and said, I am going to be better than I was yesterday. We must be very clear about this. Working on yourself is not a luxury. It is not a hobby. It is not something you do only when you have spare time on a weekend. It is a requirement. If you want to win, if you want to be the best version of yourself, if you want to build a life that you are proud of, you cannot afford to ignore self-development. You cannot afford to coast through life, hoping that things will magically get better. It does not work that way. If you want to improve, you have to put in the effort. You have to make it a priority. You have to be intentional about growing, about evolving, about becoming someone who operates at a higher level. And here is the truth, the one that should create a profound sense of urgency within you. If you are not actively working on yourself, you are falling behind. The world is not stopping. The world is not waiting for you to get motivated. Other people are getting better. Other people are learning, growing, and leveling up. The standards for success, for value, for contribution are rising every single day. And if you are not doing the same, you will get left behind. You will wake up one day and realize that years have passed, but you are still the same. You have the same mindset, the same problems, and the same excuses. And that is not the life you want. The false promise is the idea that success is an event, that it is a lottery ticket, that it is something out there to be found. It is the belief that if you just find the right opportunity, or meet the right person, or are in the right place at the right time, everything will change. This belief is a trap. It keeps you in a passive state. It keeps you waiting. It turns you into a spectator in your own life. The only truth is that success is a process. It is a system. It is a philosophy. It is something you build, not something you find. And the primary material you build it with is yourself. Let's dissect this idea of the outside search. Why are we so drawn to it? Because it's easier. It is far easier to blame the economy for your lack of wealth than it is to look at your own skills, your own habits, and your own value. It is far easier to blame your boss for your stagnant career than it is to develop the discipline and the work ethic required to become indispensable. It is far easier to look for a shortcut than it is to face the reality of the work that is required. The modern world is a grand conspiracy designed to keep you from doing this work. It is designed to keep you distracted. The comfort you feel is a sedative. The endless stream of entertainment, the notifications, the manufactured outrage, the trivialities that consume your day. They are not harmless. They are the enemies of your potential. They are the thieves of your future. Every minute you spend on something that does not move you forward is a minute taken away from the person you could become. This is why most people settle. They are not captured and put in chains. They are lulled into a comfortable cage. They trade their great, unknown potential for the known, predictable comfort of mediocrity. And the tragedy is, they do it willingly. They choose the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance will never lead you to the summit. It will only lead you further into the valley. This feeling of being stuck or unfulfilled is the natural consequence of living this way. It is the sound of your own potential crying out. It is the symptom of a life lived out of alignment with your true capabilities. That feeling of something missing is not a mystery. What's missing is you. What's missing is the part of you that you abandoned when you decided to stop growing, to stop pushing, to stop investing. The journey of self-development is the journey of reclaiming that missing part. It is the process of taking full ownership. And what does ownership mean? It begins with a simple but powerful realization. You are responsible for everything in your life. The moment you accept that, you take control. The moment you stop blaming circumstances, other people, or the past, you gain the power to change. Most people never do this. They hold on to excuses. They convince themselves they are stuck because of something outside of their control. But that is a lie. The truth is, you are exactly where you are because of the choices you have made up until this point. And the only way to change your future is to start making better choices. Today, this is the great divide. This is the difference. It is not talent. It is not background. It is not education. It is commitment. It is the decision. Think about the power of a real decision. Not a wish. Not a hope. Not a maybe. A decision. A decision where you cut off all other possibilities. A decision that says, this is who I am now. This is what I do now. The person who decides to become a non-smoker is different from the person trying to quit. The person who is committed to their health is different from the person who hopes to get in shape. The ones who rise are the ones who make that decision about their own growth. They decide to refuse to be average. They decide that good enough is no longer good enough. This decision is the starting pistol for a new life. The next 6 months, the next year, the next 5 years of your life will be completely different. If you commit to working on yourself every single day, if you make the decision right now that you are going to invest in yourself, in your mind, in your skills, in your health, in your confidence, your entire future will change. But it starts with you. It starts with a choice. It starts with the choice to stop waiting and start working. This is not a message of fake positivity. This is not about ignoring reality. This is the most real message you will ever hear. It is the ultimate acceptance of reality. The reality is that your life is your own. It is your canvas. And you are the artist. What you have painted so far is the result of your thoughts, your habits, and your actions. If you do not like the painting, you cannot blame the canvas. You cannot blame the paint. You must become a better painter. Working on yourself is the process of becoming a better painter. This is the promise. And this is the warning. The false promise is that someone else will do it for you. The only truth is that you must do it for yourself. The warning is that if you do not, you will be left behind. The promise is that if you do, you will become unrecognizable. You will unlock levels of success, fulfillment, and confidence that you cannot even imagine right now. So, the foundation is set. The lie is exposed. The truth is on the table. We are not here to hope. We are not here to wish. We are here to work. We have made the decision to stop being the passive spectator and to become the active architect of our lives. This brings us to the most critical and logical question. If we are to begin this work, where do we start? Do we start by changing our diet? Do we start by downloading a new productivity app? Do we start by waking up earlier? Those are all tactics. And tactics, without a proper foundation, will fail. You must start at the root. You must start with the one thing that governs every other decision you will ever make. You must start with your personal philosophy. We have now established the most fundamental truth, that no one is coming to save you, and that the greatest work you will ever do is the work you do on yourself. We have dismissed the false promise that the answer is out there. We have concluded that the work must begin at the root. We must start with the one thing that governs every other decision you will ever make. We must start with your personal philosophy. So, what is a personal philosophy? This is not an academic term. This is not something reserved for old men in robes. Your personal philosophy is the operating system for your life. It is the sum total of what you believe to be true. It is the framework you use to process information, to make judgments, and to ultimately make decisions. It is the filter through which you see the world. And this filter determines everything. It determines what you see as possible and impossible. It determines what you believe you deserve. It determines how you respond to everything that happens to you. Most people have never consciously examined their philosophy. They have a default philosophy, one that has been assembled for them by others. It is a patchwork of opinions from their parents, ideas from their teachers, fears from the news, and limitations from their friends. And they wonder why their life is a reflection of that same chaos. They wonder why they are stuck. They are stuck because their operating system is flawed, and they do not even know it is running. This is where we must introduce the most powerful metaphor for understanding this concept. Your philosophy is your sail. Think of it this way. The same wind blows on all of us. This is a critical concept. The wind is the unchangeable, the external, the circumstance. It is the wind of the economy. It is the wind of disappointment. It is the wind of a global pandemic. It is the wind of sudden opportunity. It is the wind of betrayal. And it is the wind of luck. You cannot change the wind. You cannot control the wind. The wind simply is. The person who is failing and the person who is succeeding are both experiencing the same wind. The person who gives up and the person who breaks through are both facing the same set of circumstances. The person living in quiet desperation and the person living a life of masterpiece are on the same ocean, with the same quality air moving around them. What, then, is the difference? The difference is not the wind. The difference is the set of the sail. Your personal philosophy is how you set your sail. Most people spend their entire lives complaining about the wind. They curse the wind when it blows too hard. They get frustrated when it does not blow at all. They look at others whose boats are moving fast and they say, they must have a different wind. They must be lucky. The wind is at their back. No, the wind is the same. Their sail is simply set differently. A person with a weak or default philosophy has a sail that is torn, or one that is flapping uselessly in the breeze. When the wind of adversity blows, their boat is pushed backward, or it is spun in circles. They are at the mercy of the circumstance. This is the victim mentality we discussed. It is a philosophy that says, I am what happens to me. A person with a strong, intentional, design philosophy has a sail that is tight, trim, and angled correctly. When the wind of adversity blows, they are not destroyed by it. They use it. They are able to tack against the wind, using the very force that is trying to push them back, to propel them forward. This is a philosophy that says, I am what I do with what happens to me. This is the entire game. And working on yourself, at its core, is the process of redesigning that sail. It is the process of mending the holes, stitching it strong, and learning how to angle it to catch any wind from any direction and use it to move you toward your defined destination. So let's talk about building this philosophy. It begins by examining the beliefs that are currently holding you in place. You are exactly where you are because of the choices you have made. But what drove those choices? Your beliefs. And what drove those beliefs? Your philosophy. Let's take a common wind, the wind of failure. A project at work fails. A business does not succeed. The default philosophy, the one given to most of us, says, failure is bad. Failure is a final judgment on my worth. It means I am not good enough. I should be embarrassed. I should stop trying to avoid this feeling in the future. With this philosophy, the wind of failure hits your sail, and your boat stops dead in the water. You are stuck. Now, let's look at a designed philosophy, a champion's philosophy. This philosophy says, failure is not an event. It is data. Failure is feedback. It is the price of ambition. It is a lesson in what does not work. It is not an identity. It is an outcome. I did not fail. The attempt failed. And now I am smarter than I was before. With this philosophy, the exact same wind hits your sail. And what happens? Your sail catches it. You adjust your angle. You say, I will figure this out. You use that force to try a new direction. You move forward. Same wind, different sail. Let's take the wind of hardship. The task in front of you is enormous. It requires intense effort, focus, and sacrifice. The default philosophy says, this is too hard. It is not fair that it is this hard. I am not capable of this. I should do something easier. I should seek comfort. This philosophy sets your sail to avoid the wind. And in doing so, your boat stays perfectly still. And you call that stillness safety, when in reality, you are just adrift. A design philosophy says, this is hard. Good. The difficulty is what makes the reward valuable. The obstacle is the way. The struggle is what will forge me into someone strong enough to deserve the victory. If it were easy, everyone would do it, and there would be no value in it. This philosophy turns your sail into the wind. It embraces the pressure. It seeks the challenge. And it creates a level of growth and strength that the comfort seeker will never know. Your thoughts shape your reality. This is a phrase you have heard, but it is incomplete. The truth is, your philosophy shapes your thoughts, and your thoughts then shape your reality. If you think small, you will live small. Why? Because you have a philosophy of smallness. Your philosophy tells you to be realistic, which is just a code word for being afraid. Your philosophy tells you to fit in, which is a code word for do not grow. Your philosophy tells you to protect what you have, which is a code word for do not risk anything to get what you want. Your sail is set for a small harbor, and so you will never, ever see the open ocean. But if you train yourself to think in terms of solutions, if you train yourself to focus on opportunities, you will create a life that reflects that. This is the how can I mentality from the transcript. The victim says, I can't do this. That is a statement of philosophy. It is a statement that says, I am powerless to the wind. The winner says, how can I do this? That is also a statement of philosophy. It is a statement that says, the wind is a force, and I am a navigator. I will find a way. This is not about fake positivity. Let us be absolutely clear. This is not about ignoring reality. This is about engaging with reality at the highest possible level. It is the most real thing you can do. It is about training your brain, your mind, your very being, to focus on what moves you forward. It is about shifting from a victim mentality to a winner's mentality. And this training is the work. This is the working on yourself that we are talking about. It is the daily, grinding, difficult, and glorious work of building a better philosophy. How do you do it? You do it by guarding your thoughts. You do it by questioning the beliefs you have held for your entire life. You ask yourself, does this belief serve me? Does this way of thinking move my boat forward? Or does it leave me stranded? You do it by controlling the input. You cannot build a championship philosophy on a diet of mental junk food. You cannot set a sail for greatness if you are constantly listening to people who believe in small harbors. You must consume ideas, books, and conversations that challenge you, that strengthen your sail. Your beliefs dictate your actions. Your actions determine your results. This is the chain of command. If you do not like your results, you cannot just change your actions. This is why diets fail. This is why New Year's resolutions fail. People try to change the action without changing the belief that drives it. They try to force an action that is in conflict with their core philosophy. It will never last. If you want to change your results, you must change your actions. If you want to change your actions, you must change your beliefs. And if you want to change your beliefs, you must, first and foremost, change your personal philosophy. This is the root. Everything else in your life is a branch. Your health, your finances, your relationships, your career. They are all branches. And if the branches are not bearing the fruit you want, it is useless to spend all your time taping fruit to the branches. You must fix the root. You must heal the philosophy. Once you have a strong philosophy, the other parts of life begin to fall into place. It is this philosophy that will fuel your self-discipline. It is this philosophy that will give meaning to your goals. Why? Because when your philosophy is clear, your why is clear. And when your why is clear, the how becomes much, much easier. A strong philosophy is the ultimate antidote to procrastination. Procrastination is just the symptom of a weak philosophy. It is the signal that your sail is not set. You do not know which direction to go, so you do not go anywhere. But when your sail is set, when your philosophy is one of growth and contribution and strength, you will find it intolerable to stay still. The wind will blow, and you will feel an internal demand to catch it. This is the great work. It is the work that precedes all other work. Before you can build a business, you must build the philosophy of a builder. Before you can lead a team, you must build the philosophy of a leader. Before you can achieve financial freedom, you must build the philosophy of a person who creates value. This is the journey. It is the decision to stop being a passive passenger on a boat you did not build, being blown about by winds you do not control, and to become the master, the captain, the architect of your own vessel, to design your sail, to set it with intention, and to navigate your way to the life you demand, not the one you were given. The work is hard, but it is the only work that matters, because it is the only work that changes everything. Now, this decision, this commitment to build a new philosophy, it immediately leads us to the first, non-negotiable cornerstone of that new way of thinking. It is the foundation upon which this entire new structure will be built. It is the primary ingredient of a sail that can catch any wind, and that cornerstone is the absolute, total, and unwavering acceptance of one single idea: responsibility. We have established that the work begins by building a new personal philosophy, a new operating system. We have decided to stop being at the mercy of the wind, and to instead become the master navigator by setting our own sail. This is a powerful decision, but a decision is only the beginning. A sail, no matter how well designed, is useless if it is not connected to the ship. It is useless if there is no one at the rudder to steer. The first and most critical component of this new, designed, championship philosophy is the one that connects your intention to your reality. It is the cornerstone upon which all other virtues must be built. It is the power of responsibility. This is where the work truly begins. This is the moment of truth. Because working on yourself starts with a simple, profound, and often terrifying realization. You are responsible for everything in your life. Let that sit for a moment. Not some things. Everything. The moment you accept that, you take control. The moment you stop blaming, you gain power. Most people never do this. They spend their entire lives engaged in a sophisticated, complex, and ultimately self-defeating game. It is called the blame game. It is the great abdication of power. We are trained to play it. We look at our bank account and we blame the economy. We look at our job title and we blame our boss. We look at our relationships and we blame the other person. We look at our mindset and we blame our upbringing. We blame the government. We blame the traffic. We blame the weather. We blame the past. That great, immovable ghost. And we chain our present to its memory, convincing ourselves that we are stuck because of something outside of our control. And why? Why are we so eager to give this power away? Because there is a strange, dark comfort in being a victim if it is not your fault. You do not have to do the hard work of changing it. If someone else is to blame, you get to be right. You get the sympathy. You get to complain, but you remain stuck. You are the rightest person in the prison cell you built for yourself. That is a lie. It is the most seductive lie ever told. The truth is, you are exactly where you are, right now, in this moment, because of the choices you have made up until this point. That is a difficult truth. It is a hard pill to swallow. It is much easier to believe in luck. It is easier to believe in circumstance. But the successful, the winners, the ones who build lives of meaning, they understand this on a cellular level. They understand that their life is a direct reflection of their compounded choices. The choice to get up or to hit the snooze button. The choice to read the book or to watch the television. The choice to eat the healthy food or to eat the junk. The choice to make the difficult sales call or to procrastinate. The choice to save the dollar or to spend it. The choice to hold the grudge or to forgive. The choice to learn a new skill or to say I'm too old or I'm not smart enough. Your life today is the sum total of those choices. The house you live in, the health you possess, the knowledge in your mind, the money in your account. It is all the result of a long chain of seemingly small decisions. The moment you accept this, truly accept it, is the most liberating moment of your life. It is not a burden. It is a liberation. Because if your choices created your current reality, what does that mean? It means that new choices can create a new reality. The power that you had given away to everyone and everything else suddenly comes rushing back to you. The future is no longer a lucky break you have to wait for. The future becomes a piece of clay, and your hands are suddenly on the wheel. This is the shift. The only way to change your future is to start making better choices. Today, this is the foundation of the winner's mentality. This is the engine of self-development. The first area this responsibility must be applied to is your mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality. But if you are not responsible for your thoughts, then you are a passenger in your own mind. If you think small, you will live small. If you focus on problems, you will attract more problems. This is not magic. This is practical. If your philosophy is one of lack and limitation, your mind will be conditioned to look for problems. And what you look for, you will always find. You will see obstacles. You will see reasons to stop. You will see why it can't be done. But if you train yourself, if you take responsibility for your focus, and you train yourself to think in terms of solutions, if you train yourself to focus on opportunities, you will create a life that reflects that. Your beliefs dictate your actions, and your actions determine your results. This is the chain of command. Winners understand this. That is why they guard their thoughts fiercely. They do not allow negativity, doubt, or weakness to take root in their mind. Not for free. They understand that a negative thought is a poison. They do not entertain it. They do not nurture it. They challenge it. They starve it. They program themselves to think like champions. This is not about faking it. This is not about ignoring reality. A person who is responsible loves reality. They just refuse to let reality have the last word. They see the situation for what it is, but then they apply their mind, their will, their responsibility to change it. This is the great shift in language, the one that separates the victim from the winner. The victim, when faced with a challenge, says, I can't. This is a statement of abdication. I can't do this. I can't afford this. I can't figure this out. It is a conversation stopper. It is the end. The person who has accepted responsibility has a different language. They look at the exact same challenge. They feel the exact same initial fear or doubt, but their internal language is different. They do not say, I can't. They ask, how can I do this? How can I afford this? How can I figure this out? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to become? That shift in language changes everything. I can't is a prison. How can I is an open door. It engages your mind. It sends your brain on a mission to find solutions, to find pathways, to find a way. Once you believe that you are capable of growth, Once you believe that you are in control, you start making different decisions. And different decisions, as we have established, lead to a different life. But this power of responsibility must be total. You cannot be partially responsible. You cannot just take responsibility for the good things. You must take responsibility for it all. Did someone betray you? That is terrible. The wind of betrayal is cold. The victim philosophy blames them and is stuck in a loop of anger and resentment forever. The responsibility philosophy says, they are responsible for their action. I am responsible for my reaction. I am responsible for trusting them, and I will learn from this. I am responsible for my own healing. I am responsible for not letting this event define the rest of my life. Did you lose your job in an economic downturn? The wind of the economy is harsh. The victim philosophy blames the company, blames the market, and waits for someone to hand them a new job. The responsibility philosophy says, this is the reality. Now, what am I going to do about it? How can I use this as an opportunity? How can I upgrade my skills? How can I pivot? How can I become so valuable that this will never happen to me again? Do you see the difference? It is the difference between power and powerlessness. It is the difference between a sail that is flapping in the wind and one that is set to a firm destination. The acceptance of responsibility is the only way to build genuine confidence. Confidence does not come from other people telling you that you are good. It does not come from luck. Confidence comes from one place, and one place only: keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you tell yourself you will do something, and you follow through, you build trust in yourself, and that trust, compounded over time, turns into unshakable confidence. But when you constantly break your own commitments, when you blame outside forces for your lack of follow-through, you weaken your confidence. You train yourself not to believe your own word. This is why most people struggle with self-esteem. They do not follow through. They make excuses. They say they will change, but they do not. And deep down, they know it. The acceptance of responsibility is the cure. It is the decision to stop lying to yourself. It is the decision to align your actions with your intentions. This is the great pivot. It is the moment you stop looking outside for answers and start looking inside for power. It is the moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I going to do about it? This philosophy, this unwavering belief in your own responsibility, is the engine of all self-development. It is the fertile soil from which everything else will grow. We have now arrived at the great engine. We have forged the bridge of self-discipline. We have made the conscious choice to abandon the comfortable path of regret and to instead embrace the temporary, rewarding pain of discipline. We have built the muscle. We are ready for the work. We have separated ourselves from the person who is governed by their feelings, and we have become the person who is governed by their commitment. But an engine, no matter how powerful, is useless if it is not connected to a steering wheel. And a bridge, no matter how strong, is a failure if it is built to nowhere. Discipline is the how, but life demands a what. It demands a where. Discipline without direction is not a virtue. It is a trap. It is a high-performance engine spinning in neutral, burning fuel, making noise, but going nowhere. It is the man who is relentlessly disciplined at a job he hates. It is the woman who is a master of busyness, of activity, but who makes no progress. This is the difference between movement and progress. Movement is chaotic. Progress is intentional. Movement is tiring. Progress is fulfilling. And this is why, after you have built your philosophy, accepted responsibility, and forged your discipline, you must, as an act of survival, as an act of creation, set clear, specific, and compelling goals. If you do not have a clear target, you will waste your time, you will waste your energy, and you will waste your discipline. This is the default state of humanity. Most people drift through life. They are not captains of their own ship. They are merely passengers on a rudderless vessel, pushed around by the winds of circumstance. The winds we discussed earlier. They are in a constant state of reaction. They wake up and react to their email. They react to the news. They They react to the demands of other people. Their day is not their own. Their life is not their own. It is a collection of accidents. And a life lived by accident will always end in the pain of regret. Goal setting is the essential antidote to drifting. It is the highest act of responsibility. It is you, taking your newfound philosophy and your hard-earned discipline and giving them a job. It is the moment you stop reacting to life and you start creating your life. This is where the transcript you have studied gets it right. But we must go deeper. Most people, when they hear goal setting, think of a vague wish. They say, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy, or I want to be in better shape. These are not goals. They are fog. They are mist. They are fantasies. You cannot build a plan to be successful. You cannot apply discipline to be happy. Why? Because they are not defined. The mind, your mind, cannot lock onto an abstract desire. It needs a target. It needs a destination that is crystal clear. The person who wants to be successful wakes up in the morning, and their discipline has no orders. What does successful look like today? Does it mean watching a motivational video? Does it mean cleaning your desk? Your discipline, your great engine, sits idle because it has no coordinates. Now, consider the person who has a real goal. They do not say, I want to be successful. They say, I will generate $100,000 in new revenue for my business in the next 12 months by acquiring 10 new clients, which means I must make 20 qualified outreach calls every single day. Now, what happens when that person wakes up? Their discipline has its marching orders. There is no ambiguity. There is no confusion. There is no time wasted deciding what to do. The plan is clear. The work is defined. They know exactly what needs to be done. This is the power of clarity. Most people do not just say, I want to be in better shape. That is a wish. A real goal is, I will drop 15 pounds of body fat in the next 3 months. To do this, I will work out 5 days a week. Following this specific program, I will consume 200 calories per day, focusing on whole foods. I will track my progress every single Friday morning. That is a goal. That is a plan. That is a set of instructions you can give to your discipline. When you have specific goals, you can create a real plan. And when you have a real plan, you eliminate the single greatest enemy of your success, ambiguity. Procrastination is born in ambiguity. Discipline thrives in clarity. This is what we mean by designing your decade. You must stop thinking in terms of days or weeks and start thinking like an architect. An architect does not just show up to a construction site and start throwing bricks. They begin with a blueprint. They have a vision of the finished building, down to the last detail. You must be the architect of your own life. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Do not be vague. Be precise. What will your health be? What will your skills be? What will your income be? How will you feel? What kind of relationships will you have? Write it down. Make it clear. This is your palace. Now, to build that palace in 10 years, what must be true in 5 years? What is the foundation that must be laid? To make that true, what must you accomplish in the next 1 year? This 1 year is your blueprint. This is your measurable, specific target. And here is the key, the part that separates the winners from the drifters. You must hold yourself accountable. Most people, even when they set standards, fail at this step. They set a goal in the busy month and forget about it in February. They write it down and then hide it away for an extended period. They treat it like a wish, hoping that somehow, just by writing it down, it will automatically come true. That is not how the world works. A goal without accountability is a dream. Winners track their progress relentlessly. They measure results. They are not afraid of the data. They crave the data. The drifter avoids the scale. They avoid their bank statement. They avoid the sales numbers. Why? Because they are afraid of the truth. They are afraid of the feedback. The person who is responsible, the person who is disciplined, welcomes the feedback. They understand that the data is not a judgment. The data is not personal. The data is simply information. It is the feedback that tells you what is working and what is not. When you have a goal to lose 15 pounds and you step on the scale after a week and it has not moved, You have two choices. The drifter, the person with the wish, sees this as failure. They get emotional. They say, "This is too hard. It's not working." And they quit. They go back to the pain of regret. The person with the goal, the person with the plan, sees the same data and has a different response. Their philosophy is different. They do not see failure. They see feedback. They do not get emotional. They get analytical. They say, "The plan I am following is not producing the result I require. I must evaluate. Am I really hitting my calories? Did I really do all 5 workouts? Yes. Then the plan itself is flawed. I will refine the approach. I will adjust the plan." They do not just set goals. They make sure they are hitting them. This is the essence of working smart. It is the application of intelligence to your discipline. And this process, this cycle of setting clear goals, executing with discipline, tracking the results, and refining the approach. This is the hidden mechanism for building the one thing everyone wants, but few truly possess. Unshakable confidence. Confidence is not a gift. It does not come from luck. It does not come from other people telling you that you are good enough. Confidence comes from one place and one place only, keeping the promises you make to yourself. That is it. That is the secret. When you tell yourself you will do something, and you follow through, you build trust in yourself. And that trust, compounded over time, turns into unshakable confidence. But when you constantly break your own commitments, when you make excuses, when you say you will change but you do not, you weaken your confidence. You train yourself on a deep, subconscious level to not believe your own word. This is why most people struggle with self-esteem. They do not follow through. They tell themselves, "I will wake up early." And they hit the snooze button. They have just broken a promise to themselves. They say, "I will eat healthy today." And they order the junk food. They have just broken another promise. They say, "I will finish that project." And they waste the evening on distractions. Another broken promise. They are living in a state of internal incongruence. Their intentions and their actions are at war. And deep down, they know it. They know they cannot trust themselves. And so they walk through the world with no confidence, hoping no one finds out. The person who sets goals and applies discipline is building the opposite. They are building a life of internal integrity. They tell themselves, "I will wake up at 5 a.m. And when that alarm rings, their discipline, part 4, answers the call. Because their philosophy, part 2, is strong. And their responsibility, part 3, is total. They get up. They have just kept a promise. They have just earned a small piece of confidence. Then they look at their plan. "I will work out for 45 minutes. And they do it. Another promise kept. More trust. "I will make 10 calls before 10 a.m. And they do it. More trust. They are not just building a business. They are not just building a new body. They are building a reputation. They are building an ironclad reputation with the most important person in their life, themselves. That is what real confidence is. It is not loudness. It is not arrogance. It is a quiet, internal knowing. It is the earned knowledge that when you set your mind to something, when you give your word to yourself, it is as good as done. It is the trust that you will follow through. We are now at the exact center of this entire philosophy. We have journeyed from the truth that no one is coming to save you, to building a sail, to taking the rudder of responsibility, to forging the engine of discipline. And now, we have just given that engine its destination. We have given it the coordinates of our goals. This is the turning point. This is the moment where the abstract becomes concrete. And you are at a turning point right now. Just by listening to this, you now understand the blueprint. You know what separates the drifter from the designer. The question is no longer, what do I do? The question is, will I do it? If these ideas are resonating with you, if you feel that internal click, that sense of truth, it is because your own potential is recognizing the path home. So right now, I need you to make a commitment, not to me, but to yourself. I need you to make the first small, disciplined action. Your philosophy is changing. And now your actions must follow. Do not be a passive observer in your own growth. Be an active participant. Below this video, there is a button. It says subscribe. Clicking that button is not just about getting more videos. It is a declaration. It is a digital promise you are making to yourself. It is the first, small, measurable goal. It is you telling yourself, I am done drifting. I am no longer a spectator. I am a designer. I am here to work. Make that choice. Take that action. Click the subscribe button now and join a community that is committed to this work. When you make that choice, when you align your actions with your intentions, even in the smallest way, you begin to build the momentum we have been discussing. You now have the complete system for internal victory, a philosophy that guides you, a sense of responsibility that empowers you, a discipline that moves you, and a set of goals that directs you. Everything changes when you start working on yourself with this level of intention. When you take control of your mindset, when you build unshakable discipline, when you set real goals and hold yourself accountable, you separate yourself from the pack. You become someone who creates success instead of waiting for it. You become someone who demands more from themselves instead of settling for less. You become the kind of person that wins. This is not about luck. It is not about talent. It is about a decision, followed by a plan, executed with discipline. You have now designed a blueprint for the architect. You know what you want to build. You have the engine. You have the tools. You have the plan. But a blueprint, no matter how perfect, is not a building. You now have to step out of your own mind and into the world. You have to take this internal machine and apply it to an external reality. You have now protected your asset from the outside world. You have built a fortress. But there is one last battlefield that we must conquer. It is the one that exists inside the fortress. It is the one challenge that follows you everywhere. You must now learn to master your own internal world. You must learn to master your emotions. We have now come to the final and greatest test of your commitment. You have done the work. You have built your new philosophy. Part 2. You have seized the rudder of total responsibility. Part 3. You have forged the engine of self-discipline, choosing the ounces of effort over the tons of regret. Part 4. You have drawn the blueprint, giving your engine a clear and compelling destination with your goals. Part 5. You have committed to becoming a person of rare and undeniable value in the marketplace. Part 6. And you have become the fierce guardian of your mind, building a fortress to protect your growth by mastering your environment. Part 7. You have done all of this. You have built the internal and external structure for success. And now, you are ready. And then, life will test you. Even when you do everything right, even when your philosophy is strong and your discipline is tight, you will face setbacks. You will experience days when nothing goes right. You will launch the project, and it will fail. You will trust the person, and they will betray you. The economy will turn. The market will crash. The client will leave. The wind, that great unchangeable force, will suddenly turn into a hurricane. This is the moment. This is the great filter. This is where the vast majority of people, even the ones with good intentions, are broken. Why? Because they let temporary emotions ruin their long-term success. They have one bad day, and they throw everything away. They experience one failure, and they start doubting their entire philosophy. They feel tired, and they give themselves permission to quit. They make permanent, devastating decisions based on temporary, fleeting feelings. They fail because their map of reality is wrong. They have been taught the fallacy of the straight line. They believe that if they put in work, A, and discipline, B, it will lead directly to result, C. They see life as an assembly line, an engineering schematic. But life is not an engineering problem. Life is a biological problem. Life is not an assembly line. Life is agriculture. And agriculture is not governed by straight lines. It is governed by cycles. It is governed by seasons. This is the ultimate philosophy. This is the master framework that allows you to persevere when all others quit. You must understand, on a profound level, the seasons of life, because if you do not, you will forever be a victim of them. If you do, you can become a master of them. Life is not a straight line to the top. Life is a repeating cycle of 4 distinct seasons, and your success will be determined by one simple thing: your ability to know what season you are in, and to then apply the correct discipline for that season. Let us examine the first season, the one everyone fears: winter. What is winter? Winter is the time of hardship. It is the difficulty, the setback, the loss. It is the recession. It is the business that fails. It is the relationship that ends. It is the long, cold, dark period where it feels like nothing is working, where you are putting in the effort and seeing no results. It is the test from the transcript. The drifter, the person with the weak philosophy, is destroyed by winter. They are unprepared. They thought it would be summer forever. And when the cold wind blows, they are exposed. What do? They complain. They blame the wind. They blame the cold. They blame the world. They fall into the victim trap. Part 3. They get emotional. They make panic decisions. They give up. They quit, just to escape the temporary pain. And in doing so, they sentence themselves to the permanent pain of regret. Part 4. But what does the winner do? What does the architect, the person you are becoming, do in winter? First, they are not surprised. They expected winter. They prepared for it. They know it is a part of the cycle. Second, they do not waste their energy complaining about the cold. You cannot control the season, but you can control your response. This is the essence of responsibility. So, what do you do in the winter of your life? This is not the time to be outside trying to plant seeds. It is foolish to try and plant in a blizzard. This is the time to go inside. This is the time to work on yourself. Part 6. This is the season of preparation. When the world is cold, you get strong. When the nights are long, you study. You read the books. You build the skills. You strengthen your mind. You refine your philosophy. You use the pressure of the winter to make you harder, sharper, better. You remember the words from the transcript. Pressure creates diamonds. Winter is the pressure. Your job is to become the diamond. You do not wish for the winter to be shorter. You wish for yourself to be stronger. You do not wish for fewer problems. You wish for more skills. This is how winners use challenges to make them stronger. They do not make emotional decisions. They make disciplined decisions. And here is the promise that fuels your perseverance. Winter does not last forever. No season does. After the cold, after the darkness, the thaw always comes. And that brings us to the second season, spring. What is spring? Spring is the season of opportunity. It is the thaw. The market turns. The new idea arrives. The phone rings. The new platform emerges. It is the chance to plant. The drifter, the person who was broken by winter, is asleep during spring. They are so busy nursing their wounds, so busy complaining about the cold they just went through, that they do not even notice the first green shoots of opportunity. They miss it. But the winner, the person who spent all winter getting stronger, getting smarter, preparing, they are ready. They have been waiting for the first sign of spring. They are not tired. They are strong. And what is the correct discipline for spring? Is it time to rest? No. Spring is not the time for rest. Spring is the time for intense labor. This is the season of action. This is when you take all the skills you built in winter and you apply your unstoppable discipline. Part 4. You plant your seeds. You make the calls. You start the business. You launch the project. You work 6-hour days. You seize the opportunity with both hands. Spring is a short, crucial window. You cannot be lazy in the spring. If you are lazy in the spring, there will be no harvest in the autumn. You must have an unstoppable work ethic, especially in the spring. You are taking all of that stored potential from winter and turning it into kinetic action. And you do this. You plant, and you plant, and you plant, until the seeds are in the ground. And that leads to the third season, summer. What is summer? Summer is the season of protection and nurturing. Your seeds have been planted. The first shoots are coming up. Your new business is growing. Your new habits are taking root. But here is the danger of summer. Your garden, your new growth, does not just attract you. It attracts the pests. It attracts the weeds. What are the pests and weeds? They are the distractions. They are the new shiny objects that try to pull you away from your goal. They are the small doubts. They are the first signs of complacency. They are the negative people. The environmental threats, part 7, who see your new growth and want to pull you back down. They are the weeds of your old, bad habits trying to creep back in. The drifter gets lazy in summer. They see the first signs of success and they think the work is done. They walk away from their garden. They go on vacation. And when they come back, the weeds have choked all their plants. What does the winner do? The winner knows that summer is the time for vigilant discipline. This is the season to protect your focus. You must nurture what you have planted. You must show up every day and weed the garden. You must defend your new habits. You must protect your time, protect your energy, and fight off the distractions. Summer is the test of your focus and your commitment. You must not let your temporary success create permanent laziness. You must stay focused on your goals, part 5, and keep executing. You must nurture what you have planted, day in and day out, with relentless consistency. And if you do, if you get through the winter, plant in the spring, and protect in the summer, you are guaranteed the final season. Autumn. What is autumn? Autumn is the harvest. It is the reward. It is the victory. It is the achievement of the goal. It is the profit, the success, the result you were aiming for all along. This is the time to reap what you have sown. And here, in the season of abundance, there are 2 final, critical disciplines. First, you must reap your harvest without apology. Either the drifter, if they stumble into success, often feels guilty. They minimize it. They apologize. The winner understands that this result is not luck. It is the earned consequence of the entire cycle. You earned it. You paid the price in winter. You did the labor in spring. You fought the battle in summer. Now, you enjoy the harvest. You celebrate the victory. You accept the reward with gratitude and pride. But second, and this is the most important discipline of all, this is what separates the champion from the one-hit wonder. The winner knows that autumn is not the end of the cycle. It is just a part of it. What does the drifter do in autumn? They consume everything. They eat all of their harvest. They eat all of their seed. They party. They spend. They become complacent, believing that it will be autumn forever. What does the winner do? In the middle of the celebration, in the middle of the harvest, they perform the most critical task. They take a significant portion of their harvest, the very best of it, and they store it as seed. They put it away. They reinvest. They save. They prepare their house. Why? Because the winner knows the great, immutable truth. After autumn, winter always comes again. This is the philosophy of perseverance. This is the master map of a successful life. It is not about one cycle. It is about understanding that this is the cycle forever. And once you understand this, you are free. You are no longer a victim of your emotions. You have developed true mental toughness. Failure no longer breaks you. It is just winter. You know what to do. Go inside. Get stronger. Prepare. Opportunity no longer panics you. It is just spring. You know what to do. Work hard. Plant. Distraction no longer fools you. It is just summer. You know what to do. Protect. Focus. Success no longer corrupts you. It is just autumn. You know what to do. Harvest. Celebrate. And save your seed. This is how you build a life. This is how you sustain success. You learn to operate based on the season, not on your feelings. You do not make emotional decisions. You make strategic, seasonal decisions. You have now integrated the final piece. You have the internal engine. You have the external application. And now, you have the master map for the long, hard, and beautiful journey of your entire life. You are prepared for anything. There is only one last enemy to conquer. It is the one that rots the harvest in autumn and freezes the seed in winter. It is the one thing that can destroy this entire perfect machine. You must now learn to never be complacent. We have now come to the end of our journey and the true beginning of yours. We have traveled the entire map of self-mastery. We have exposed the great lie that someone else is coming to save you. Part 1. We have committed to building our own philosophy, to setting our own sail. Part 2. We have seized the rudder of total, unwavering responsibility. Part 3. We have forged the unstoppable engine of self-discipline, choosing the ounces of effort over the tons of regret. Part 4. We have drawn the architect's blueprint, giving that engine a clear and compelling destination with our goals. Part 5. We have committed to becoming a person of rare and undeniable value in the marketplace. Part 6. We have built a fortress to protect our minds by mastering our environment. Part 7. And just now, we have been given the master map for the journey, the wisdom of the seasons, which grants us the perseverance to endure any winter and the wisdom to prepare for the next. Part 8. You have the complete system. You have the full truth. You now understand, on a level that 99% of the population will never grasp, the power of working on yourself. You understand that everything you want, success, confidence, discipline, growth, it all comes from the effort you put into yourself. You know that no one is going to do it for you. No one is coming to push you, to hold you accountable, to make sure you stay consistent. It is on you. And perhaps now you are standing in your autumn. You have followed the map. You have done the work. You have reached a goal. You have the victory. You have the harvest. And in this moment, you face the single most dangerous, most seductive, and most lethal enemy of all human potential. It is not failure. It is not winter. The enemy you now face is complacency. It is the whisper that says, you have done enough. It is the thought that says, you have arrived. It is the good enough that the transcript warned us is the enemy of the great. Most people reach a certain level of success, and then they slow down. They think they have made it. They become comfortable. And as we learned, comfort is the cage. The moment you stop improving is the moment you start declining. There is no standing still. There is no coasting, not on this battlefield. The ones who win in the long run, the ones who build legacies, they never stop growing. They never stop learning. They never stop pushing forward. Why? Because they understand that success is not a finish line you cross. It is not a destination you arrive at. It is not a thing you own. Success is a process you live. It is a standard you maintain. Success is rented, and the rent is due every single day. The moment you get comfortable, the moment you stop paying the rent, the universe begins to repossess your results. This is the truth that the transcript was built on. This is why working on yourself is not a temporary thing. It is not a 30-day challenge. It is not a project you complete. It is a lifetime commitment. You do not do it for a few months and then stop. You do not work hard for a while and then go back to your old habits. You make it a way of life. You commit to constant improvement. You commit to never settling. You commit to always getting better, no matter what. So how do you fight this final enemy? How do you stay hungry when you are no longer starving? You do not fight it with motivation. You fight it with the system we have just built. This entire philosophy is your weapon against complacency. You fight it with your philosophy. Part 2. Your sail is not set once. It must be checked daily. The moment you get comfortable, it means your sail has loosened. It means you have started to drift back toward the harbor. The winner's philosophy is one of constant growth. You must recommit to that philosophy every single morning. You fight it with responsibility. Part 3. Complacency is the ultimate abdication of responsibility. It is saying, I am no longer responsible for my own growth. You must hold yourself accountable, not just for your failures, but for your success. You must be responsible for using that success as a platform, not as a hammock. You fight it with discipline. Part 4. Your discipline muscle is not just for getting out of bad situations. It is for pushing you into new, bigger challenges. The moment you achieve a goal, your discipline must be given a new order. The discipline of the champion is not just in doing the work, but in finding the next, harder work to do. You fight it with goals, part 5. This is your primary weapon. Why do people get complacent? Because they have arrived at their goal. The winner knows that a goal is not a summit. It is a base camp for the next, higher summit. This is why you must design your decade. The moment you hit your 1-year goal, you already have the 5-year goal looming. You do not have time to get comfortable. You are still climbing. You fight it with value. Part 6. The marketplace is never complacent. The world is always changing. The skills that made you valuable today will be obsolete tomorrow. The champion knows this. They are constantly in a state of self-education, becoming more valuable, solving bigger problems. They are working harder on themselves. Always, you fight it with your environment. Part 7. The drifter, upon making it, surrounds themselves with people who will congratulate them. They build an echo chamber of comfort. The winner, as the transcript said, intentionally seeks out people who are better than them. They put themselves in rooms where their success looks small. They find a new top 5 that forces them to level up, that makes them feel like a beginner again. They choose pressure. They choose challenge. And finally, you fight it with your understanding of the seasons. Part 8. The complacent person is the one who is celebrating in autumn, eating all their harvest, eating all their seed, believing it will be summer forever. The winner, the one who understands the map, is already preparing for the next winter in the middle of their greatest harvest. They are storing their seed. They are reinforcing their foundations. They know the cycle is turning. They are never surprised. And they are always prepared. This entire framework, this philosophy, is not a checklist you complete. It is a cycle you live. It is an operating system for a life of relentless, unstoppable growth. And so, we are at the end. You now understand. You see the 2 paths. You have the complete map for one, and you have lived the painful consequences of the other. You know that everything you want comes from the effort you put into yourself. You know that no one is going to do it for you. You know that your life, right now, is the sum total of your choices, your habits, and your philosophy. You now understand the power of working on yourself. You know that everything you want, success, confidence, discipline, growth, comes from the effort you put into yourself. No one is going to do it for you. No one is coming to push you, to hold you accountable, to make sure you stay consistent. It is on you. And that is the greatest truth you can embrace. You are in full control of your future. Most people never realize this. They will hear this message. They will watch this video. And they will feel inspired for a moment. That is the feeling of motivation. It is a temporary emotion. And then they will go back to their old lives. They will go back to the default philosophy. They will go back to waiting. They will go back to making excuses. They will convince themselves that their circumstances are holding them back. They will choose the pain of regret because it feels comfortable today. And that is why they will stay the same. That is why they will stay stuck. That is why they will never break through. That is why they will look at the ones who make it and think they must be lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. They worked for it. They earned it. They built themselves into someone who deserves it. The question is, will you do the same? Or is this the day? Is this the moment? Is this the line in the sand? Is this the moment you make a decision, not a wish, not a hope, a decision where you cut off all other possibilities, a decision that you are finished with mediocrity, a decision that you are done being a drifter, a decision that you will no longer settle for the life that was given to you, but that you will build the life you demand. The people who rise are the ones who refuse to be average. They refuse to let time pass without progress. They refuse to let comfort steal their potential. And that is why they succeed. This is your moment. Your greatest work is not your job. Your greatest work is you. Your commitment must begin now. It must be real. It must be physical. A decision without an action is just a thought. If you are serious, if you are truly committed to this new life, I want you to do two things right now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now, first, I want you to make a public declaration. This is your first act of accountability. This is your first promise to yourself that you will keep. Go to the comment section below. And I want you to write 2 words. I commit. That is your signature. That is your contract with your future self. That is you casting your vote. Second, I want you to make an environmental choice. This channel is not just a channel. It is a commitment. It is your new environment, part 7. It is your new top 5. By subscribing, you are not just getting videos. You are making a conscious choice to surround yourself with these ideas. To make this your new standard. To protect your mind. Click the subscribe button. These 2 actions are your first victory. They are your first step in building discipline, in keeping your promises, in becoming the architect. The journey ahead is long. It will be the hardest thing you have ever done, but it is the only work that matters. Everything you want is on the other side of this commitment. You are in full control. Now, start the work.